Alright, buckle up. You're about to hear the real story behind George Soros. The man with more influence than most people even realize. And the man who, let's face it, doesn't give a damn about what you think. Welcome back to the Daily Past. Today we're diving into the life of one of the most controversial figures in the world, George Soros. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. This isn't some rags to riches story. Oh no. This is about power, manipulation, and control. Born in 1930 in Hungary, Soros grew up in the chaos of World War II, surrounded by Nazi occupation. His family, Jewish, managed to survive barely. But instead of being a victim, Soros learned early on that in this world, you either take or you get taken. And that, my friends, is exactly what he did when he moved to England, studied at the London School of Economics, and let's be honest, figured out how to play the game of global finance. Now, you might think, okay, he studied philosophy, he was idealistic. Well, forget that. George Soros wasn't out there thinking about world peace. No, he was learning how to manipulate markets, how to profit from chaos, how to make billions off of other people's misfortune. His key influence? A philosopher named Karl Popper. Sounds innocent enough, right? But Popper's ideas about an open society were the foundation Soros used to justify his entire global financial empire. And it didn't stop there. Soros moved to the United States, where he worked for investment banks and slowly started amassing power. But in 1970, the real game began. He created Soros Fund Management, and right out of the gate, he went for the jugular. This wasn't about playing nice, it was about taking down the system. And in 1992, he did exactly that when he single-handedly attacked the British pound, forcing the British government to devalue their currency. How much did he make from that? $1 billion. 1 billion. And guess what? Soros didn't just stop there. He didn't take his winnings and go on vacation. No, he saw the potential in more than just finance. He understood something that most of us still don't. If you can control the flow of information, you can control the world. So naturally, Soros turned his attention to the media. Yeah, media. The one thing we all rely on for truth. You see, Soros realized something: if he controlled what people watched, what they read, and most importantly, what they believed, he would control the global conversation. He wasn't just satisfied with manipulating financial markets. Now, he was going after something far more powerful: the very stories we tell ourselves. Soros's investments in media were not about free speech. No, they were about creating an empire of narratives. His investments in Central European media enterprises were just the beginning. CME owned major TV stations in Eastern Europe regions freshly out of communist control. And instead of helping these countries rebuild their governments and economies, Soros used his media influence to spread his version of democracy. His agenda. His truth. But that's not where it ends. Soros didn't just stop at TV stations. He started pumping money into digital platforms, non-profit organizations, online journalism, and causes that supported his version of a free society. Sounds noble, right? But it was far from selfless. What he was really doing was shaping public opinion on a scale that most of us can't even comprehend. Now don't get it twisted. This wasn't some accidental good deed. Soros knew exactly what he was doing. By funding journalism and non-profit organizations that supported liberal and progressive policies, Soros wasn't just investing in media. He was investing in the future, and in doing so, he ensured that when the narrative was told, it was told his way. Media was the weapon. And trust me, he used it to his advantage. But that's the thing about Soros. He's not the type to sit back and play by anyone's rules. From his media empire to his billions in political donations, Soros was and still is a kingmaker. He doesn't just fund causes. He funds movements that push his own agenda. People say he's a philanthropist, but that's just a nice term for a man who controls the narrative and uses his fortune to manipulate political systems around the world. Now let's talk about those conspiracy theories. You've heard them. That Soros is controlling governments, manipulating elections, and using his billions to shape global policy. A lot of that sounds insane, right? But here's the thing. While some of these theories might be exaggerated, the core idea isn't all that far off. Soros uses his wealth, his media, and his political clout to ensure that the world moves in the direction he wants. Think about it. When you can use your money to fund entire political movements, push for specific laws, or influence elections all, while controlling the stories people hear. How is that not manipulation? It's no surprise that people are starting to question his motives. And let's not forget, Soros' name pops up in every controversy, from global immigration debates to environmental policies. His influence is everywhere. And it's no accident. Soros may be praised by some for fighting for freedom and open societies, but let's not kid ourselves. His version of freedom is the one where his ideas dominate. The world Soros envisions isn't one of chaos. It's one where he calls the shots. And the rest of us? Well, We're just along for the ride, so let's get down to it. Is George Soros a hero fighting for democracy and human rights? Or is he just another billionaire pulling the strings of the global puppet show, using media and money to push his own agenda? I want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Is Soros a champion of progress, or just a master manipulator? And be honest. Thanks for tuning in to the Daily Past. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and don't forget to turn on the notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss what we've got coming next. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep watching the Daily Past.